Let's go ahead and go to this special report from last night's Nightly News with Anthony Gucciardi and others. It's a very important report. We've tweeted it out at Real Alex Jones. We've posted it on Facebook. In fact, we'll put it up on screen, and I'll give you the title of it. Poison Makeover. Poison Makeover. And you can go to our Facebook and to our Twitter, and you can get the report. It's named High Fructose, the Secret Killer of the Masses. And I think that's an important headline, but it probably needs to be Consumer Alert, High Fructose Corn Syrup name changed. And this is really a consumer alert here, because we're winning this war, so the enemy's pulling a fast one. Let's go to this report.
For years, mega food manufacturers have told us to not look at the label or the ingredients of your product, and that high fructose corn syrup is perfectly safe. It's the same as sugar. You shouldn't even care, in fact, if you're eating regular sugar from fruit, then high fructose corn syrup is the same thing. But unfortunately for them, and fortunately for humanity, due to some recent studies I'm about to reveal to you, we have been looking and we have been concerned because we don't want to eat garbage and we don't want to feed our family mercury-laden high fructose corn syrup. And yes, it does contain mercury, as the Washington Post has shown. Specifically now, the corporations have lost the battle to such a degree that they're giving up and renaming high fructose corn syrup. So no longer are you even allowed to know, just like GMOs from Monsanto and other biotech industries, if you're eating high fructose corn syrup. They've gone now, and according to the Corn Growers Association, they have literally changed high fructose corn syrup just to fructose. And how do they possibly get away with that? They just say, well, it's the same thing. There's nothing wrong with that. And this is actually a quote from the Corn Growers Association. They say that the term fructose is now being used to denote a product that was previously known as high fructose corn syrup 90, meaning it's 90% pure fructose. Compare this to what is now termed the regular high fructose corn syrup, which contains either 42 or 55% fructose. And you'll easily know why General Mills and others are so eager to keep you in the dark. Now, specifically what we're saying here is that they're changing high fructose corn syrup to a less scary name, just regular fructose sugar. It's totally safe. The Washington Post, however, and other mainstream news outlets disagree. Let's look specifically here when it was found that high fructose corn syrup, not only is it unhealthy, and there's a new study explaining exactly why and how it's actually killing you and harming your reproduction and shortening your life, but specifically how it's contaminated with one of the most toxic, if not the most toxic substances in the known world. Specifically here, we can look at the Washington Post article from 2009, where it says, almost half of tested samples of commercial high fructose corn syrup contained mercury, which was also found in nearly a third of 55 popular brand name food and beverage products, where high fructose corn syrup is the first or second highest labeled ingredient. This is according to 2 new studies. Now, specifically, they went to the store shelves. This wasn't some scam system. This was an independent actual analysis, and that's why we see real results. We don't see these things when Monsanto or major food corporations fund these studies to say that it's perfectly safe. And you've seen the commercials on television, on YouTube, when the ads play before the video, where they're feeding their families the ice cream and the cookies, and it says high fructose corn syrup is so safe, it's the same as sugar. Well, as it turns out, they all actually contain these major brand names, about a third of them, and they only tested about 55. You can imagine about 90% of them, I would say, actually contained some form of contamination, maybe not mercury, but they all contained mercury in levels that were actually harmful. Specifically, here is a quote from one of the lead professors. Mercury is toxic in all its forms. Given how much high fructose corn syrup is consumed by children, it could be a significant additional source of mercury never before considered. We are calling for immediate changes by industry and the FDA to help stop this avoidable mercury contamination of the food supply. So specifically now, children are munching down on this garbage, which is bad for them anyway and contains high fructose corn syrup, which is shortening their lives. But they're also getting a major intake of mercury, and they've never factored this in before. And then they're saying, well, gee, what's going on? Why are all these kids getting cancer? Why are all these kids having signs of, heavy metal overload and mercury overload? Why are all these kids getting other sources that we are intaking and not counting all of the high fructose corn syrup and watching them have, childhood diseases that we've never had in the past 50 years? Well, it's pretty simple, and a new study just came out actually while I was looking into all this. I found from the University of Utah, and this is a major groundbreaking study, has been on the front page of many news outlets. However, it's interesting to see when the mainstream media won't actually talk about it because they're, of course, sponsored in many cases by the food manufacturers who have an ad right next to the article proclaiming how safe high fructose corn syrup is and how great their sugary sodas are. So let's look at this article specifically. Fructose more toxic than table sugar in mice. There it is, plainly stated from the University out of Utah. When University of Utah biologists fed mice sugar in doses proportional to what many people eat, the fructose-glucose mixture found in high fructose corn syrup was more toxic than sucrose or table sugar, reducing both the reproduction and lifespan of female rodents. There it is. And they don't even mention that it contains mercury. Is it the mercury doing this? Is it the other contamination? Is it the genetically modified ingredients that go into the corn that makes high fructose corn syrup? Because remember, a large portion of the corn supply, in addition to soy and other crops, are genetically modified. So are we being hit by the mercury, the GMOs, or the very constituents that make up high fructose corn syrup? Let's continue reading. This is the most robust study showing there is a difference between high fructose corn syrup and table sugar at human relevant doses, coming from a biology professor, Wayne Potts, who is the senior author of the study. Now, we've known this for quite some time, and Princeton also said this back, I believe, in 2010, and they were ostracized from the medical community saying high fructose corn syrup is perfectly safe, and that's what those campaigns came from, because everyone hates high fructose corn syrup, and you talk to anyone that cuts that out of their diet, they're instantly losing weight, feeling better, overall getting up in the morning and actually thinking, what's happening? Oh wait, I'm not dosing myself with GMOs, mercury, and other constituents that make up high fructose corn syrup. The bottom line, however, is that we are achieving victory, because in reality, these corporations are being forced to run away from the truth. They're being forced to run away from the reality that they're pumping garbage into their products. They know that you know, and you're not going to buy it anymore. That's why they're rebranding it. It's actually should be hailed as a victory. These studies coming out is public information and public knowledge growing. And the corporations, they're running behind their darkness, their shield and their cape of darkness, running away from you because you're actually making a difference. You are the activists when you don't buy this garbage. So overall, I would say this is a victory. I would say spread the word, share the information. When this is up on Infowars.com tomorrow in the very early morning and afternoon, share this information. Because if you are unknowingly eating high fructose corn syrup, or your friends and family or your kids are eating high fructose corn syrup under this new name, fructose, and you can share these articles as well to let people know, then they have no idea that they're getting mercury, GMOs, and other garbage in their body on a daily basis that is making them sick, fat, and giving them cancer. I'm Anthony Gucciardi, and it's essential to protect your health, and it's great that we're defunding these worthless corporations that are just plugging us full of total garbage.
I tell you, what a team we've got with Darren McBreen and Anthony Gucciardi and Adon Salazar and Nico Acosta and Rob Dew and John Bound and Jakari Jackson and Leanne McAdoo, and I just can't, and David Knight. The list just goes on and on. I know I'm leaving people out of there. Marcos Morales, Josh Owens, Rob Jacobson, all the support crew, everybody, just everybody. I need to have like a big group broadcast sometime in the big studio with all the crew that makes the InfoWar possible. But Gucciardi did that, teleprompter free, and basically no takes. You know, they stopped and started a few times for him to get his articles in his hand, but he just went off the cuff with the research, with the knowledge. That's why it came off so much more credible than somebody reading off a teleprompter. Folks know when they look at the teleprompter and read to them that it's canned. There's no teleprompters around here. We have computer screens that'll show what's on television so we can watch a clip or see an article. But we're just telling you the facts, and it makes me physically angry that I have to go through hell and high water and tell my children no, 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 no all the time, and be neurotic at restaurants and ask them, what's in this drink? What's in this dessert if I'm going to give them dessert? And I have to call the chef out. And they go, oh, there's no additives. And I go, oh, really? Let me see. Oh, we're sorry. So there is high fructose corn syrup in the pumpkin pie. And I'm just like, can't I just have some pumpkin pie? I have to spend all this time and energy dodging this stuff. It's garbage, folks. It'll kill you. They grow it with toxic fertilizers that they have waivers to use in corn production that are full of Grignard reagents, lead, mercury, arsenic, in levels way above swordfish, way above blue tuna, bluefin tuna. You wonder why the kids are so... You wonder people are 30 years old getting Alzheimer's now. Everywhere I go, there's people with neurological disorders. It's just a wreck. I look at people's kids. I can always tell they're vaccinating them. The kids look like they're brain dead, look like little dead zombies. I want to just warn them. Sometimes I do it. I go, hi, how you doing? How's your daughter? How old is she? They're like, oh, she's 3. You taking a lot of vaccines? And they're like, yeah, she just got one last week. And I'm like, well, you better look into those. He goes, why are you asking? It just happened like a week ago. I was on an elevator, and I said, sir, they really hurt your children. Just how's your daughter doing? And it freaks them out, because I'm not even saying, hey, you hurt your kid. I'm walking up to pregnant women at restaurants saying don't vaccinate. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. You understand it? I've broken your conditioning. I know you're murdering people. You scum. You filth. You trash. Do you know how much mercury is in anything with high fructose corn syrup? Everything the Washington Post tested. And there's just freaking hundreds of these studies, hundreds of them. Everything had mercury and lead in high levels. You might as well just put mercury drops in your kid's food. You give them high fructose corn syrup. And I have to go, I mean, I can't tell you how many birthday parties I take my kids to, and they got Bluebell ice cream that I grew up eating. And it's got high fructose corn syrup. They go, Dad, can't I have some vanilla? And I'm like, sorry, you can't. You wanted to go to the birthday party. I told you, we ain't eating lead, okay? And it's not that I'm some health nut. I don't want my kids having a neurological disorder when they're 25 and then burying them when they're 40. I'm pissed. Excuse me. I'm not usually talking like this, but the reason I have trouble even coming on air these days is I'm done. Okay, I'm right about all this. We're right about it. We're warning you. We're not heroes. It's common sense to warn everybody and to be upset about this. And now, fructose, I guess, just means plant sugar. So now they're going to call it fructose when it's high fructose. What you don't want is high fructose corn sugar, as best I've researched. And I've talked to medical doctors, you name it. I got a guest coming up. I'm going to go to break and go to Phyllis. And actually, Joan's been holding the longest, and then Jeff, and then Phyllis, and Giovanni, and everybody else I'll get to you. And I meant to go to your calls. I went to some of them. I just kind of go off on a jag. Because this isn't a radio broadcast. It's not me. I mean, it's really upsetting that they're doing this, and they've got us used to it. We're supposed to be calm about it. Well, you know what? I'm not calm about it. I'm not calm about it. I'm not calm about the government trying to cause a civil war or funding racist groups on both sides. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of crooks ruling over us. None of us are safe. Please support the broadcast. Spread the word about the free podcast, the free video feeds at Infowars.com/show. 20 people can use each PrisonPlanet.tv membership. They're $5.95 a month, or get them for $2 and change if you sign up for a year. It's a great way to reach out to folks. PrisonPlanet.tv, $2.50 a month, 12 cents a person. PrisonPlanet.tv. And all the great nutraceuticals, stuff like X2, Nation Iodine, that's known to pure out to take all the garbage out of you. It's just an amazing things for me and my family. It's all at InfoWarsLife.com. And you're funding the very tip of the spear. Stay with us. Third hour coming up with a big whistleblower.
Thank you for listening to GCN.
And a lot more. I got to get settled down now. This is a very serious interview coming up.
GCNlive.com today.
From the water table to our soils to the atmosphere itself, our world is becoming more and more toxic each and every day. But it's not just the air outside that's toxic. Indoor air has been shown to have 2 to 5 times higher concentrations of pollutants than even outdoor air. And most Americans spend 90% of their time inside using toxic chemicals within their homes. There are more than 42 million smokers in the United States. Well over 1,000 types of mold and mildew linked to numerous conditions. And don't forget the fact that 6 million Americans live with pets they're allergic to as well. When I began to research these statistics, it was clear to me it was time to start cleansing my lungs in order to combat the toxic environment that we cannot escape, but that we can fight back against. Made with organic and wild cultivated herbs and manufactured in the USA, the new InfoWars Life Lung Cleanse is here in a convenient spray bottle that can be brought with you throughout any toxic environment. Now available exclusively at InfoWarsLife.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139.